Welcome back to my channel. I'm Robin. I am going down to Arkansas to see my dad and spend Christmas with my dad and my sibling. So I thought I would do a little pack with me. Now you might be thinking, Robin, isn't that suitcase a little excessive? And no, it's not. My family is really big on Christmas. We celebrate Christmas secularly. And while I'm there, we are going to go to a Hanukkah lighting because I converted to Judaism and my family is very supportive. But I grew up with Christmas. I grew up with a lot of Christmas traditions, which I thought I would tell you all about because there's a lot. And I think it's fun, and I think it really embodies what Christmas, as far as secular people, is all about, which is, you know, quality time with your family and showing love through quality time, and yes, lots and lots of presents. As you can see, my cats. I also have a stack of presents. This is not even close to all of them. So I thought I would go in chronological order. My dad is essentially like Father Christmas. I need you to understand that. Like, he is Santa. So, but because we live so far apart, I am near Chicago, he's in Arkansas. There are some traditions that I just can't take part of, and so I'm going to talk about the ones that I can do. So the first real, like, Christmas tradition technically is my dad reading A Christmas Carol throughout November and December. He reads a little bit each night with my sibling, and he's done that for years. It's a tradition now, and it's something that I think really, you know, gets us excited, especially because after the reading of A Christmas Carol, whichever section is that night, then we get to open... Sorry, cats are exploring all the presents. Then we get to open one of our 25 Days of Christmas presents. If it's December. we go through November with the reading of A Christmas Carol with no presents, and then as soon as December 1st hits, we get to open one present a night. So the 25 Days of Christmas presents are, like, it's essentially an advent calendar of, like, smaller, like, stocking stuffer quality. But it's something that you get to open every day, and it, you know, gets you excited about what you're going to get. I've got some really cool stuff so far. I've gotten a lot of gnomes, because I really love gnomes. I think they're cute. So that's the 25 Days of Christmas presents. So I'm going to fill this suitcase with all of my dad's presents. I'm sure I have presents for my sibling here as well, but mainly they're my dad. I'm the main gift buyer for my dad. And so I will not be surprised if I fill this entire suitcase. And once I'm done with that, I will tell you about our Christmas Eve. I guess I should also explain why I'm bringing wrapping paper. So, I didn't have enough time to finish wrapping. So, as you can see, I have another suitcase, like, right here. That's full of all my unwrapped presents. And I'm going to get to the hotel room so early tomorrow that I'm going to finish wrapping there. So, that's why I have to bring wrapping paper. Because I suck. Does it look like I'm playing a really weird game of Jenga? Because that's how it feels. And I realize I'm probably making a mistake by burying the wrapping paper. now all the presents are around me, and I gotta see how many I can stuff in this. I will have to put the bags in a box or something. I will have to find a box, but that's what I'll have to do because they're not gonna fit. Can you tell that there are a lot of books in here? I think that's going to be all I can fit, because everything else is fairly, sizable. I can't fit in, I don't have anything else to fit in these like little nooks. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this up, and then I have to find a box. But before I do that, so I go down to Arkansas, and this is the tradition. I go down every year for Christmas. Usually I get there around like the 23rd. So the 23rd we'll just, do whatever. We'll rest. We'll open our 25 days of Christmas presents after dinner usually, and then Christmas Eve is largely spent preparing for Christmas dinner. Sometimes we have people over, sometimes it's just the three of us. So there's lots of, cooking, there's lots of munching on Christmas cookies and, different appetizers and stuff. Usually on Christmas Eve, we'll have Chinese food and we'll watch A Christmas Story, the running 24-hour marathon. We'll just watch it over and over and over again. This year, however, because Hanukkah is happening right when Christmas Eve and Christmas happens, instead of Chinese, we're actually going to have brisket and latkes on Christmas Eve instead, which I'm really excited about because I have still not had any latkes this year, which is insane because I love latkes so much. I just haven't been in a place where I've been able to get them. So we'll be having brisket and latkes, and I will light the Hanukkah candles. And then after dinner on Christmas Eve, instead of opening a 25 days of Christmas present, at that point we should be out of those, and we should be into our Christmas Eve stocking, which is a fairly simple stocking that has Christmas pajamas that we will wear that night and while we're opening presents Christmas morning, a book about Christmas, and some sort of beverage container. And I say it like that because usually we would have Christmas mugs to have hot chocolate, coffee, tea, or whatever in the next morning. However, my dad doesn't like any hot beverages, so this year I've gotten him a glass so that I'm not giving him something that he's not going to use. So that is our Christmas Eve, and then later that night, because we will go to bed early because we're all very excited to wake up and open presents. So we'll go to bed early, and Santa will, come by and reorganize all the presents to make sure that they look nice and there's, no two wrapping papers right next to each other, and to make sure that everyone has an equal amount of presents, because that is something that we just struggle with. And it's just, it's really upsetting to be the person sitting there with no presents at the end while everyone else is still opening presents. So Santa tries to avoid that. And, oh yes, so Santa reorganizes the presents, and then once that's taken care of, and of course he puts out the presents that he brought and the stockings as well. And so once that is done, it's just a matter of waiting for Christmas morning. And I will tell you about Christmas morning in a little bit. those are all the presents. And now all I have to do is pack my clothes. I'm sure you were expecting that when you clicked on a pack with me video. But I'm not going to show that because my clothes are everywhere and it's just going to be me running in and out of the frame. So instead you got to see me play a Christmas Jenga. So Christmas morning, we wake up around 5 a.m. I don't know anymore if we do it intentionally, but there's just something in all of us that makes us wake up at like 5 a.m. And if anyone, and we don't wake anyone up, like everyone is waking up of their own accord. However, if it's 6 a.m. and someone is still not woken up, then we can wake them up. We'll let you sleep until 6. But the reason we do that is because our Christmas takes a while. So we wake up at 5 to 6 a.m. and we have breakfast. Breakfast is hash brown casserole, blueberry muffins, which are usually from like the Betty Crocker mix, just because that's what I've always grown up with, and I will maintain that even though fresh blueberry muffins are better, I'm not denying that. Tradition is obviously very important in this season, and that is what I grew up with, and that is what I want on Christmas morning. I've gotten into many fights with my family members about this. And then we also have, hi, buddy. We also have what we call sausage rolls, and it's, I can't think of the company, it's like Schuster or something. They make really good dinner rolls, and for a really long time they had sausage rolls with, you know, the little like sausage in the rolls. I don't know why I'm explaining that. But when I converted 5 years ago and I went kosher, I couldn't have those anymore. And my family is very nice. They would get like turkey sausage and get a pan, and they would like my dad said that he felt like he was violating the rules because he would have to like jam them in there. But then I think it was last year or 2 years ago, like Schuster or whoever the company is, I'll like put a picture up or something of what I'm talking about. They stopped making the sausage rolls, and that is the most disappointing thing that could have happened on Christmas, besides 2 years ago when my dad and stepmom had COVID. So now my dad has to get the dinner roll packs, because they still make those, and put turkey sausage in all of them. But apparently, so Schuster recognizes, though, that people really like their sausage rolls, because I guess they put out a video of, like, the best way to put sausage in their dinner rolls. And I'm just confused, because if you know that so many people love those, that you have to put out a video explaining, like, how they can make them at home, why don't you just make them? Anyway, so that's our breakfast usually, as well as like Christmas cookies. We're eating Christmas cookies all throughout. So after breakfast, after breakfast / during breakfast, because usually we're too impatient, we all start opening our stockings, and that we just open all at the same time. And it usually takes about 15-20 minutes, because our stockings are, I mean, my stocking is at least like, my hand is out of the frame, so you can't see. My stocking goes up to, I'd say, probably like my rib cage. And my sibling's stocking is even bigger, which, ask me if that upsets me. And then my dad's stocking is, it's still bigger than like your average, but it's not nearly as big, which I do feel bad about, and have considered getting him a bigger one, but then that would mean Santa has to fill an even bigger stocking. And that seems like a lot of pressure to put on Santa. So after the stocking is done, after breakfast is done, then the Christmas elf, who is now my sibling, I did it for a very long time, but I was told when my sibling turned like 10 or something, I think it was when they were 10, that now they were Christmas elf, which, ask me if I'm mad about that. It's rude. But the Christmas elf has the job of like handing the presents to the people. So we go in around pretty much the youngest starts first, so my sibling starts first and they open their present, and then when they're not opening their presents, they are making sure that they have sort of a stockpile of presents for every other person, so it's not like slowed down. Because we typically, like this year, our present count was at 45 presents a person. Now, I recognize that we are very privileged to be able to do that. Most of the presents are like books, stuffed animals, activities. Like, very few of them are like astronomically expensive. We do have like, we save it for the end. We have, you know, 1 or 2 big presents, usually from Santa. And those are typically more expensive or just have the most meaning in them. But everything else is fairly like ranging from $10 to $50. And we're going in like 45 times around, and we're watching everyone open their presents. We don't open our presents at the same time. And so it can take usually about like 4 to 6 hours. So it takes a while, but it's just really fun, you know? And it's like, yeah, we get presents, and that's always exciting, and, you know, an opportunity to show the other people like how much you care about them, how much you have listened to them throughout the year, to get them things that you think that they will like, and hopefully they will like. But it's also just a nice opportunity to spend, you know, Christmas morning together. And yeah, we're spending Christmas Eve and the days following Christmas together as well, but it just feels like it has more meaning. We will open presents, and then afterwards, after we've opened all the presents, after we've opened the big presents from Santa, then we'll eat lunch, because it's usually about that time. And then we'll like clean up a little bit. You know, we're usually pretty good about keeping up with like the wrapping paper and like putting it in bags and stuff. But we'll like organize our presents and put them like in our like rooms or back under the tree. Like my dad usually puts his presents back under the tree, while my sibling and I put it in our respective rooms. And then like, you know, we'll usually grab a present, usually like a book or an activity or something, and do that. Or usually someone will get like a board game or a card game, and we'll probably play that. But we're also like prepping for Christmas dinner and making sure that like everything is made there. And then after that, it's just, you know, more days of quality time. Usually my sibling has to go to their mom's house to spend Christmas, the days after Christmas, with their mom. And so it's just me and Dad hanging out. We'll usually have a Lord of the Rings marathon, because I make him. But this year, we are going to we're going to record our first episode of our new podcast. So that will be exciting, and hopefully that'll go up soon, and I'll be able to tell you all about it. That's sort of the typical Christmas traditions, as well as any modifications that are happening this year. And I'm really looking forward to it. You know, I think it'll be a lot of fun. It's what I look forward to every year. And I do wish my husband could come with me, but he can't just because of work. And so usually, like, every day I'm also making sure to, like, FaceTime him. But that is... Oh, and I don't know if I mentioned it. On the 23rd this year, like I said, because Hanukkah is throughout this next week, we are going to a local temple and going to their Hanukkah lighting, because I haven't really been to a Hanukkah lighting before. I actually did one last night, but it wasn't like a formal thing. But on the 23rd is Shabbat, and so we're going to go to that local temple and light candles with them and pray with them. We've been there before, but, you know, that's something else I'm looking forward to, is just getting to experience a different temple from mine, and more of a, I believe they're more lay-led than mine is, which will be really interesting to experience. So that's the other thing. that's another modification for this year. But that is the Pack With Me Christmas edition, as well as an explanation of my family's Christmas traditions. So in this week's upcoming vlog, when you see different clips of things, like, it might make a little bit more sense now. So I know I already wrapped the Pack With Me video, but I realized you saw me, pack a lot of presents and tell you about my holiday traditions, but you didn't see me pack any of the books that I'm bringing. And considering this is a booktube channel, I think that is pretty important. So I am going to bring the holiday books that I haven't gotten a chance to read yet, as well as a book that my dad and I are going to talk about together. So, of course, I'm talking about my copy of Something Fresh. I read this last week, and my dad and I are going to have an in-depth conversation about it that we might be recording to potentially start a podcast. And I need to bring my book because I have notes and stuff like that. So, bringing this, but I won't be reading it. I have also started Chrismukkah by Ron Gompertz. It's really cool so far. It's somewhat satirical, but also it goes into his experience in interfaith marriage. And I've read like 26 pages, but it should be fairly quick to read, so I think I'll be able to read this before Hanukkah's over. I also have Herschel and the Hanukkah Goblins. I will definitely be able to finish this before Hanukkah's over. This is, 20 pages? 25? Maybe? But I just haven't gotten a chance to pick it up yet. I will probably read it while I'm at the hotel room at the halfway point. So this will be really quick, and I'm assuming really good. And then finally, the last holiday book that I haven't read from my December TBR is, of course, The Annotated Christmas Carol. I'm looking forward to this a lot. I'm also sort of glad that I saved it for last because, like, one, it's the biggest, and two, as I said earlier, like, my dad reads A Christmas Carol every year to my sibling, and so this will be really cool to read and then also get the annotations and some like background and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. So these are the books that I'll be bringing with me as part of my Pack With Me. I wanted to make sure that I addressed that. Now I am officially going to end this video. I hope you have a very happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, a happy Kwanzaa, happy Yule, and a very happy New Year. Let me know what some of your traditions are because I want to know. So comment, like, subscribe if you want to, and I will talk to you guys later.